What is up, everybody? Renfail here, and we are now past the 20-hour mark, which means it's time for me to do my initial review of Death Stranding 2. If you're not familiar with my review process, it is a three-part process. We do an early thoughts video after the first stream, which we've already done. Links are down below. We then do an initial review between 20 to 25 hours of the game, and then we do a final review upon completion. And with longer games where we get more than 50 hours of gameplay, we usually do an additional thoughts video at the 50-hour mark. We have now crossed 23 hours played as of today's stream, which means it is time to do this one. So, where are we at? Well, we're deeper into the game for sure. I now have my truck, which is pretty freaking awesome. And I have spent the bulk of my time building roads and connecting pathways and generally spending my time exploring the world of Death Stranding 2, specifically the continent of Australia, where we are currently located and working on rebuilding and connecting everything everywhere. Um, to talk about this review, I do have to talk a little bit about the story. If I can get Lucas to not chew that box while I'm doing this, that would be great, because that'll probably get caught in the audio. Oh well, it's a rainy day. He's inside the office. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit. I'll try to keep this spoiler free, but I will have to talk about some things to make this make sense. So just bear in mind, if you want 100% spoiler free, this isn't going to be the review you want to watch. But I will try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. So Death Stranding 2 is a direct sequel to Death Stranding 1, meaning that there's one main story that one main character in particular who carries over from the first game, who we are working with here, and that's Fragile. And Fragile's story, including everything that happened to her in the first game, carries over into this game in a way, at least according to where I'm at in the current storyline. Now, on top of that, we have a whole layer of additional stuff related to things we don't understand yet. And in the warped mind of Hideo Kojima and everything that's coming here with this creative genius that he has, this mad scientist vibe, there's a whole lot of additional stuff being layered on top of that storyline. Things that we just don't understand yet in relation to the baby that is in the pod that Sam wears on his chest, who wasn't in a pod at the beginning of the game, which we talked about in the first video. Um, there's that storyline. I honestly feel like that storyline is only a part, and if I had to say where I'm at in the game as of right now, as of this recording, that storyline only makes up about 10% of what I have been doing in this game. Now, I have been spending most of my time focused on really cool stuff related to the world building, which means doing runs and getting my, bicycles, tricycles, getting this cool ship that we have right here, and then being able to jump in this truck and roll around and build roads, which has been really fun, which means lots of deliveries, which ties into the whole people who are like, this is just a walking sim, other than it's not a walking sim, it's actually more of a driving sim than anything else. And once you start to get everything connected, it has a very significant quality of life progression path, starting from when you're first running around on foot to getting your first bike, to actually running around on foot and getting your first exoskeleton, then getting your second exoskeleton, to getting your third exoskeleton, to getting your bike, to getting boost packs for your bike, battery packs for your bike, to be able to build highways, then get your machine here, this off-road beast. And to this point, we can take a look at this. I have essentially been spending all of my time building these blue lines, which are highways. And specifically today, I spent most of my stream session over here doing runs to, I lost his little place, this guy right here, the lone commander, because he had a silenced sniper rifle that I was able to get once I got him to rank 5. So, yeah, we've got a working monorail over here. We've got a highway system that I can drive along now. None of this existed when I first got here after, I don't know, the first like 3 or 4 hours of gameplay was in Mexico, and then we moved to Australia, and here we have been since then. I have not pushed the main story that far forward. In the process of working on all of this, we are just essentially getting Australia tied back into the grid and getting hooked up to the Death Stranding for reasons that I'm not going to spoil. In the process of that, we have met up with some people who were a big part of the first story, and we have progressed this sort of subplot along to some degree. And there's a lot of mysteries that are still ahead of us, which is what I can't wait to figure out as I get deeper into this game. So, a lot of people have asked me, do I need to have played the first game to understand what's going on in the second game? And to that, I will say yes and no. There is the aforementioned subplot related to Fragile and some other individuals from the first game, which you will better understand if you played the first game. Now, if you haven't played the first game, there is a recap at the beginning of the second game, which tells you of all the events that happened in the first game. And in that way, you can get caught up to speed with everything that took place in the first game, but it is an extremely condensed, summarized version of this. So if you really want to understand what's going on, you're going to have to play the first game, and that will give you all the nuances of all the characters and help you understand all of the sort of subtleties of this second game, but it is by no means mandatory. In addition to that, things like building a highway here, which we do in the first game, will be very familiar in this game. But then we start getting into all of the things that are better in the second game. And this is when we get into, someone said something along the lines of, this is when it's really good to have the same game director working on the first game, also working on the second game, because they literally pick up with everything they did in the first game and expand upon it and make it better. The first of which is the map, because if you remember the map in the first game, it was a very simple map. You couldn't really do much other than tilt it a little bit like this. That's about all you could do is tilt the map, right? Here we can zoom in. We can see all sorts of fun things. We can plan routes entirely. We can do all sorts of stuff. There are watchtowers. We can pan in. We can pan out. We could do all sorts of fun stuff with this map to really help us plan our routes and figure out where we need to go and do the map, the actual like drawing of waypoints from point A to point B. The entire building system has been improved upon. We have mines now where we can mine materials, so we don't have to just rely upon finding them at stations or along the pathways. There's way more guns. There's way better combat. There's more combat. There's far more options, and then we have this entire basically stat system, which I think we covered in the very first video. I talked about this a little bit because everything you do in this game is so basically what you do is that's the stats you level up. So if you're going to be stealthy, you're going to level up stealth. If you're going to be ranged combat, you're going to level up each individual weapon over here. There's different weapon types, right? Then if you are carrying heavy loads, you're going to get better at certain things. You hold your breath a lot to hide from the BTs, your lung capacity is going to go up. All of these things, your knockout resistance, all of these things get leveled up. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. But wait. There's more. There's also this really cool A-Pass enhancement system wherein you earn points by doing things, and then you can spend those points in various ways to customize your Sam. So I have customized into stealth and then the social side of things, which allows me to have more structures from other players showing up on my map, which helps my exploration because we'll get more bridges, more generators, more things to help me on my journey. It's really cool, really awesome way. And you can mix and match this at any time. You could do loadouts, you could do all sorts of different things. There's also an expanded social strand service for meeting all of these other people that you're going to be meeting along the way, and then the different strand contracts that you can do. This is far expanded from the first game. So essentially, it's everything that made the first game fun, expanded upon, and made better, and larger, and on top of that, we have a new story, which I am still exploring. So it's been a lot of fun. There's lots going on here. I've accessed the bike, we've got the truck, we've got the monorail, I've got a couple of working mines, I've got a really cool sniper rifle now, which I got today, which is the silenced sniper rifle. And we're basically reconnecting with Australia, and we've been meeting a cast of characters and meeting a ton of people who have cameos in this game. It's a much bigger cast than the first game, and generally we've been having a very, very good time. And I have to say, if you've been watching the streams in particular, being able to have this highway network now laid out has made my life so much easier, because the original trekking back and forth around here, I would say that's one of the biggest bonus points in my mind for the first game and this second game, but just the improvement upon that quality of life progression in the second game. It does feel in every way, shape, or form superior to the first game, which is what a good sequel should do. A good sequel should feel better to the game that came before, and if the developers have done their job right, you will get, you'll be able to feel that progression in a way that is tangible, and that's definitely something we feel here in this game. So I got nothing but good things to say about Death Stranding 2. I've been having a really good time. The only little complaint I would have is that, and I've nitpicked this on live streams, as a content creator and streamer, one of the, it's a frustrating point is that the game is full of trademarked music, and it's not a streamer friendly game. And so if you are someone like me who relies upon the ad revenue when you're playing these games, unfortunately you're going to get dinged for a lot of the tracks in this song. Now Kojima Productions does own a lot of the music in this game, but not all of it. And they have stated you're not going to get any DCMA strikes for the music in this game, but you are going to lose your monetization on YouTube. And if you go to their website, they literally tell you, as a streamer, you have two options. One is to get the rights from the rights holders to use that music in your streams without any issues, which is impossible because A, we don't know the tracks that are listed in the game beforehand, and B, trying to track down and get contact points with all of those people before we were to start a stream session is impossible. And the only other option they give us is two, turn the music down when the licensed tracks play so that you don't get dinged and lose your monetization. And I find that extremely frustrating. There's no in-game option to turn off the music, and I realize this is something that is unique to me being a streamer and content creator. This is not going to impact those of you who just play the game for fun, but I do mention this for the other people out there who might be streaming this game or planning on creating content around this game. I feel like there are so many little small indie teams that have done it right by including a streamer mode for their game. Most recently playing The Alters having a streamer mode, which has had some hiccups. Dune Awakening has a streamer mode. Guardians of the Galaxy, which we played a couple years ago, had a streamer mode to turn off licensed music. Now I understand that Kojima's his creative vision is for these songs to be a very impactful and important part of the story. And for those of you who are just going to be playing the game, that's totally legitimate. But I will say, as a point of sort of like, in 2025, streaming is a big part of the gaming industry. I am not, I'm not a huge fish. I am a small fish in a very big pond, but I am one of, hundreds of millions of people who stream video games for a living. And I feel like every company knows that. And if you're going to be using licensed music in your game for the creative vision, I respect that. But there definitely needs to be a streamer mode for this game, but there's not. So if you're going to be streaming this game like I do, you do have to pay attention. Anytime you see a music track popping up on screen, you need to make sure you mute that audio, otherwise you're going to get dinged for that. Apart from that, the game is awesome. It's a tiny little nitpick, and I've gotten around it by just turning the music off when we go. So apart from that, love the game, having a great time. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow morning in the next stream. Until then, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss an update, and I will see everybody in the next one. Don't forget, the playlist is down below, and if you've missed any of the VODs, you can watch the episodic format as well, because we're cutting these into 30-minute episodes for a playlist on YouTube. See you next time, everybody.